Okay, I will tell briefly about myself, and then we will start the first panel discussion. My name is Timofey Polomany. I'm a partner of consulting company WindConsult. We have the group of companies that work in IT and in business consulting. So let's start the panel discussion. It will be the moderator of this panel discussion will be Oren Barber. So let's start it. I wish you to enjoy the discussion.
Thank you very much. So good morning for the first panel of the day. Thank you all for coming. My name is Oren Barber. I'm from CoinPoint. It's not presented here. I'll tell you a bit more about myself, but first I want to welcome and introduce my panelists. So please, guys, come on stage. Give them some claps. Yeah, the first panel of the day. So we'll talk today about, where is my phone? We'll talk today about decentralized games and decentralized iGaming. Of today, all of them have a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge to share with you guys, so stay tuned. We'll start with a short introduction, one by one. Let's see if this one is working now. So Mark Lee will start. Just give us a brief about yourself, about your company.
Hello, this is Mark Lee from Superg. We are the building of blockchain-based gaming portal at this time, and we launched our first game, the Crypto Dojo, last month. It is ranked in the top 2 and top 10 in the Ethereum-based game category at this time among the game listing sites. It's a bit hard to say that it's a big success, but we are going to be released the mobile version very soon, so it's hoped that it's going to be or higher.
Hey, my name is Vasily Shapovalov. I'm working at DGaming. We are making a platform to connect players to crypto games. We are making a store for games. We are making a wallet, marketplace, and a number of SDKs to develop games, including SDKs to develop games on the upcoming Cosmos infrastructure. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Oded Zucker. I'm a founder and CEO of PlayChap. PlayChap is a retro arcade gaming platform that allows users to play against each other, old-fashioned games from the 80s, like Pac-Man, Super Mario, if you own all these games, and to bet against each other with cryptocurrency.
Hi everyone, my name is Mike Lee from GB Fighters. We've been on the Ethereum network for about 10 months now. We've been live there. We're about to launch on the Tron network on May 4th. Basically, we're a PvP type style, battle, web-based battle game, wherein you get the chance to either, wage, have battles with other players and put some money into it. If not, there are in-game adventures that would basically allow the top players to make a certain profit, anywhere between $300 to $500 a month. So that's it.
Great. So my name is Oren Barber. Like I said before, I'm from CoinPoint. We are a consultation and marketing agency in this crypto / iGaming / blockchain space since 2013. Most of our business actually is in Asia, but we also have an office in Europe to accommodate this market. So we have here Korea, Russia, right? Israel / Germany, Singapore. I'm based in Sofia, Bulgaria, so it's like worldwide. And as you heard, we have game provider, a game developer, we have platform, and we have 2 DApps to share the knowledge. We call the panel, we don't have it, but we call the panel 2019 as the year of DApps, which we all believe that it's going to happen. And I would like to start with a short story about Black Friday, specifically Black Friday of April 15, 2011. Somebody knows what happened in this specific Black Friday? No. Okay, so the background for this Black Friday, which was a game changer for the iGaming industry, started with September 11 and started actually 5 years later when in 2006 George Bush the father signed the UIGA, which is the Lawful Internet Gambling Enforcement Act of 2006. It was part of their war against terror to seize the money. And once he signed it, it's basically signing the document that gambling is illegal in the US. That was a game changer. Only 5 years after, in this Black Friday, again, it was April 15, 2011, 3 law cases were filed in New York against Absolute Poker, Full Tilt Poker, and Poker Stars. Heard the names? Yeah. That's basically when everything, when the wheel that now is rolling very fast forward, starting to wheel because gaming is illegal in the US. We need to find new solutions. We need to find new platforms. We need to integrate new platforms like the blockchain into this space. And today we are like very fast forward for for this event that happened a few years ago, and we see the results. I would like to start with a general question for my panelists about DApps in general, decentralized application, DLT technology. Why DApps and not just apps? Okay, maybe you'll start.
Okay.
Can we have another mic?
Yes. I don't want to talk about the technological stuff like the whole husky or the chain stuff because want to work focusing on the perspective of user spaces. There are 2 major different stuff. It's about one is the transparency about, and the other one is the true ownership about the cryptocurrency or the kind of the virtual item. So. What I believe is it's gonna be the game changer in terms of the gamer. And for the gamer, so it's gonna be that they can own their virtual item by themselves because if there is a big gamer, there's always have some kind of the worrying about the losing the data. It's because the big company or the developer is decide to eliminate the kind of data or something like that. So I think that is kind of this kind of concept is going to be big difference between all the centralized the server.
So you mentioned transparency and ownership.
Yeah, ownership.
Ownership. Okay.
Too.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to start with the fact that the term DApp is not very strict. I mean, we are talking, for example, about games, and most games on blockchain are essentially centralized. They are dependent on a single company to run, and they are mostly deployed in a way that smart contracts are changeable, upgradable, and that means that they can be changed by developer at any time. So there is a lot of trust in the developer, and it's not particularly decentralized. There are decentralized parts that concern payments and some player interactions and so on. But if we can compare it to decentralized apps like, I don't know, the Golden Child, the MakerDAO, for example, games are less decentralized than that mostly. And that's fine.
What is DApp? You asked me what is DApp?
Yeah, that's not clearly defined. And let's talk about apps that use some decentralized aspects like payments or some logic or interplayer communication, and say that's DApps. That's enough for us to define it like that. Let's not argue about decentralization. And in that case, there is a very clear advantage of DApps over general apps. It's permissionless setting. It's the freedom to build without signing agreements, without waiting for multiple documents round trips, without know your customers, interactions, and so on. You can deploy your game and without talking with basically anyone, and it can accept payments, it can attract players. It's got some APIs that works, interfaces that works like wallets, and that's not exactly very usable right now, but it is a very clear advantage over working with like Google or Apple Store or something like that. There is a disadvantage in the lack of audience, but permissionless setting for deploying apps like that is a very clear advantage.
So if I summarize what you said, freedom.
Yeah.
Okay.
From the user perspective, I think it's good because we're all sick and tired of the data abuse that these big centralized platforms are using, taking everything they know about us and reselling it and retargeting us and basically recycling everything. From an operator perspective, I think it's good because me as an operator, as someone who's like targeting users, I look at the users now no longer as a product, but more of as a customer, which makes me want to provide my users a better quality platform with more transparency and more reliable. So I think it's a win-win situation for all, and this is why DApps fills that void.
I totally agree with the transparency part, especially coming from, the gaming side, wherein we do reward our players by playing our game. Ownership, rewards, payments, that side of things has to be what do you call this? It has to happen automatically, permissionless, but of course, there are certain cases wherein some of parts of the game we can't do with in a decentralized fashion yet. But the things that matter the most, like payments, ownership, and we want to make sure that it's unquestionable from the player's perspective that, hey, if you're supposed to reach a certain rank and you're supposed to get this much percentage of a pot, for example, you're automatically going to get it, no questions asked, no rigging involved, so on and so forth.
Yes, actually, one of the things that we see in the marketing space around the DApps industry is the transparency on the forums, and the discussion is very open because basically everything is transparent. And the players are smart enough to know where to find the information and how to track the information. And if something is missing or something is glitching, immediately they can show it out, unlike, let's say, the traditional online gaming. Can I have a volunteer from the audience to Google what is DApp and to find like the definition for DApps? What is DApps, decentralized application? We have a volunteer? We have someone with cell phone in the audience? Smartphone? You? Can you check for it just to give us the definition? Because we don't know, now we're talking about DApps and what exactly is DApp, because all of you represent your companies, and so it's not really DApps, because there is a company like you just mentioned before. One of the things that DApps are a bit lacking today, and it's going to change as far as I understand the market very fast, is the value or the product itself. So we have very limited games, different games. In the online gaming world, we see more live dealers, we see much more slots, much more advanced slots, graphics and music and so on, and some other products that in the DApps industry are not available at the moment. And my next question to you is about what's coming next. How do you see the development of the products in this industry in order to fill this gap to the traditional online gaming?
All right. So, bridging the gap between traditional gamers and bringing them over to the crypto side. I guess the biggest hurdle that everyone most would agree is allowing these players to not worry about the payment side of things, converting fiat to crypto, and just have a system wherein, okay, I'll put my payment details or keep it as simple as Venmo, and then I'm able to get the tokens that I need for the games that I like to play. So I guess once that aspect is solved, I'm pretty sure there's a good chance we're gonna see a good influx of players from the traditional side to the crypto side. And I just had this call a while back, very recently, with the guys from Consensus. And it's one of the things that they've agreed that once this part is solved, the players can just play and not worry about all the,
Logistics.
Logistics and stuff, and boring stuff on their end. Yeah.
From the user side, it's very easy. It's going to be much more easier and much more quick. Everything is going to be faster because the transactions happen in seconds to minutes, as opposed to traditional betting casino sites where the money, sometimes, I'm talking from personal experience, takes, if I want to withdraw my earnings, could take up to 3 weeks. Not to mention the crazy fees I need to pay to credit card companies and bankings and SWIFT. From the operator side, it's going to be easier as well because it's going to save me a lot of time and money on customer service. Everything is transparent. Everything is out there. To track and fight fraud, it's just going to make the operating side a lot easier for me. So yeah, that's how I see it implemented.
Vasily, just 1 second. You have the definition? So what is DApps?
I need to read it. Okay. It's a computer application that runs on a distributed computing system. DApps have been mostly popularized by distributed ledger technologies, namely the Ethereum blockchain, where DApps are often referred to as smart contracts.
Okay. So none of you are DApps. Thanks. Yes, Vasily.
Okay. First of all, I don't think that implementing traditional games as DApps should be our only goal. It's just one of them. Blockchain gaming can allow for much more complex business models than traditional. Like you have subscription, you have microtransactions, you have selling, buying items and Kickstarter. That's basically what you have for business model in traditional games. On blockchain, you can have much more complex economies than that. You can approach something like maybe EvenLine has, like corporations inside the game, marketplaces, exchanges when the users are there. So I think that we need to look outside the box and look what can bring to more weird, more crazy community and economics building to take advantage of permissionless nature of blockchain. But return to the original questions, how to make the apps feels like traditional gaming. You obviously need some key management solution that's easy to use. Current wallets are not usable enough. You need some solution to the fact that transactions are expensive, or there are some bandwidth rent or paying for CPU or something like that. That's something that always will be hard for a casual player.
So the audience basically that you described, the audience for the DApps games are different from the audience in the online gaming. They're consuming games that are more complex and with the communities and more tech savvy. They know the technology, of course, because they know what they're playing. They're using the advantage of the cryptocurrencies, of course, in the platform. But do you see traditional slots players or traditional baccarat players that already playing baccarat online for years? Moving their or changing their platform to something based on blockchain?
I honestly can't answer the question. I'm not very familiar with gambling side. I'm a little bit more familiar with gaming, so I'm not sure how the backer audience behaves and so on. That's not clear to me. But I think that we can say they can move when they don't feel the difference, and just the backer company has some advantages because it's used blockchains. Whether that's an obvious answer, but maybe there are some non-trivial ones.
Okay, thanks.
Yes. As all right now, like right now is the user and player in the blockchain. It's not the traditional game player at this time. Most of them is like a more the related cryptocurrency basis and like the more the aware about like the blockchain technology or the more kind of like that, not the game players. So what I believe is like for the normal user, so normal players, traditional normal players, much more like doesn't think about that much about the technology or the other stuff. So the UX UI at this time is because we are the very ground floor of like the blockchain and all kind of things. So the monetizing and the other kind of UX UI is not existing right now. So we need to take some time to prepare to getting the real game player. So what I'm thinking is like because we launched our first game at the Crypto Dojo. At this time, we tried to really push the normal user, our previous databases, because we've been through more than 10 years in the mobile game industry. So we tried to using the old traditional media and using the kind of things of pre-reservations and with some kind of a focused group test, something like that. So we tried to let them play our the blockchain game, but everyone is going crazy to start using the MetaMask and going to buy the cryptocurrency or something like that. So I think that it should be the main issue to solve before we are mass adopting.
So when you reach out marketing-wise, are you focusing on the fact that this is blockchain-based, or you focus more about the game and about the entertainment part?
Yeah, I tried to, but I think that it's not the right media right now to feed into the right person who is feeding on the blockchain basis game at this time. So we are looking forward to see that. So next 6 months or 1 year later. But yeah.
Mike, maybe you can give from your experience, the players are playing because it's entertainment, or they're playing because it's blockchain and it's cool?
Yeah, well, on my personal perspective, realistically, as much as I want to market it as a blockchain, blockchain-focused game, honestly, personally as a CMO, it's marketed as an entertainment, an actual game. The game itself is what we're trying to market, and we're actually, once we launch on May 4th, we have invested heavily on customer service for this, basically customer happiness. So to bridge the gap, we just have people ready to answer anyone, anytime, anywhere on Discord, Telegram, and all that, and have. I know some people might find it a waste, but honestly, I see great benefits in this. We try to keep it as simple as possible by we'll have explainer videos, wherein not only an explainer video, but also something written on the side, instruction manual.
Like a tutorial, how to play, how to start,
yeah.
and so on.
So A, B, C, and D, and then it equals to this. So keep it simple. But yeah, we are marketing Chibi Fighters as a game. And we're heavily focused on that because, again, traditional gamers, unfortunately at this point, since it's too early on, some, if not most of them, get scared when they do see, blockchain. Yeah, and you can't blame them. It's lack of information. But what we're trying to do to combat that is we're trying to be as proactive as possible. We're expecting anywhere between 500 to 1,000 players once we start, and as soon as that happens, our goal is to retain that. We're not looking at the next 2,000, 5,000, 10,000. Our goal is to make sure that it remains the same for, I guess, the first 60 to 90 days. And then once we've accomplished that, once we've assured ourselves of customer retention, then we're going to focus on bringing in more people.
So you mentioned tutorials and basically education funnels, because I saw players that are not familiar with the technology falling on landing pages of DApps, and then the Fox download appeared and they have no idea what to do and how to move forward, and basically the knowledge is lacking, like you said. And because there is not enough knowledge and not enough experience in the market, when they see blockchain or Bitcoin, immediately no.
Exactly. And one thing I want to add to that is
still no after 6 years, let's say.
Exactly. No. And one thing I'd like to add, personal experience. One of our customers accidentally sent some of his tokens to an exchange that were not carrying us. So basically, those tokens are gone for now until, well, that would be Binance to be exact. He sent our tokens to Binance, and the only way that the guys from Binance would give the tokens back is once we get listed. And obviously, it's realistically, it's far from happening at this point. So, but yeah, those are the little things that we have to make sure that the audience, our customers, are happy. So on the customer side of things, our main focus is customer happiness. Just not support, happiness, and yeah.
Retention, basically. Yeah. Retention, customer retention.
I'm in the retro gaming niche, and based on a survey that we did, 83% of people who play retro games, I'm talking about those games from the 80s, are also the same people who hold cryptocurrency. So it goes hand in hand. That's why
they bought the currency in the 80s.
Huh?
In a very good price.
This is a different topic, the renaissance of the retro gaming, but still, yeah, it works. I don't know. So of course we're focused on the product itself and the games, because if the game is shit, no one will come to your website. But yeah, I mean, we're targeting those specific users that like retro gaming, and the user flow is much easier for them to also implement the blockchain technology on them.
Can you give some examples about the games that you develop? You said Pac-Man is one of them. What are the others?
So Pac-Man is just an example. We have 2 games developed so far. It's called Panic Saloon, where if you guys remember the game Tapper, where you have to just push beers to the drinkers. And the other one is called Ketchup. Yeah, we have to play with the tomato.
You used to play the games, huh?
You played it, nice. Yeah, so you play against each other, just like in the old days where you would go to the arcade hall and there's a machine there with 2 players, you play, and then the winner takes, I don't know, you get the tickets, and then you go to the counter and you can buy a hat or something. Same thing, but online.
Nice. My next question is about, again, we're going back to the blockchain, and wow, we're losing people. We are like half than we started, guys. We are boring them. So let's talk about something a bit boring, because it's on my list, about the blockchain itself. So we know that you can develop on different blockchains, and you can develop your own blockchain. So just give us some ideas about which blockchain you're using and why. What are the advantages? Mark, will we start with you?
Actually, we are doing operating our game on the Ethereum basis at this time, but we are more try to be like the blockchain and meta blockchain, which is integrated to another because we don't know which one is gonna be the main the platform gonna be. So at this time, as I told you, we try to thinking about the user perspective. So someone who has want to play our game in the EOS basis, we want to try to provide them. So we are trying to starting from the Ethereum basis, because there is 1 billion people have the MetaMask basis the wallet. So I think that is the most amount compared to another the EOS and Tron at this time. So now we are focusing on starting from the Ethereum basis, because there is many users in there. They simply think like that.
EOS is also very active community. Right?
Yes, that's right. That's another reason. And then we are moving to we are preparing the EOS and the Tron and the other platform as well.
Yeah, okay. We are a platform that has things like store in it, store for games, and with this product we are going to the blockchain where the gamers are. So we're not trying to compare them to see what's best. We see where is the audiences, where there are actual people who need that web page where they can look at the games that can be that are playable right now and select the one they want to play. So for the store, we go where the players are. And currently that's Ethereum and EOS. We've got Ethereum supported already, and EOS will be out soon. But if we're talking about the future, we are really looking up to the emerging Cosmos ecosystem. There is a reason we think it will be fairly popular for complicated or popular games. Cosmos ecosystem is a infrastructure project to make a lot of interconnected blockchains. Up until it's out, making your own blockchain for your own game is not very feasible. If you deploy a game like that, you need to afford a blockchain, a validator set, or a mining rig, and you need to afford to making a marketplace, a stable coin, the whole infrastructure, wallets, and so on. It's not a good idea to deploy your own game blockchain right now. But Cosmos allows you to use the existing ecosystem using the inter-blockchain communication standard. So you have marketplaces and stable coins and wallets and so on. You spin up blockchain with some validator friends, and it's connected to the larger economic system. That means that you can make complicated rules that don't fit on Ethereum, on EOS, or on Ton network or something like that, on one hand. And on the other hand, you prevent value capture by the blockchain you are hosted on. What I mean by that, I mean that if you make a super popular game that is deployed on Ethereum, you got like 1 million profits, and Ethereum goes up by 20 billions because you attract users. And someone's cashing out your success. That's just unfortunate. And if
that can happen with very small blockchains, I guess.
I think that with smaller and half-independent blockchains in Cosmos ecosystems, value capture will be much less because it happens mostly on the protocol level, and you own the protocol level for your own blockchain.
Just to add what both of you said, we're based on Ethereum at the moment because it's just more user-friendly and the flow is faster. I think the more the technology progresses and the more we develop, and based on our customer feedback, we'll open it up for more currencies, and we'll know which ones as well, and move it from there.
Same with us. We started off on the Ethereum network about 10 months ago, and leading up to the end of last year, we saw the opportunity that Tron is a viable option. I'll just be straightforward with everyone who is aware of the Tron network. There are a few issues. It's not as stable as Ethereum, but what Tron delivers is, on a marketing standpoint, on a business standpoint, the users are there. There's actually more users on the Tron network in the gaming side of things. So, and that's the main reason why we took the leap. There will be bugs. We're expecting to encounter certain bugs, but we are ready for that. And it's just a risk worth taking.
Part of the game.
Yeah, it is, exactly.
Okay, let's talk about acquisition for a second. You two guys are more from the client side, so you acquire players, and in the marketplace it's more into B2B. Trying to load on customers and trying to load products. So in terms of acquisition, unlike the traditional marketing, let's take the obvious one, PPC on Facebook, which is working, and you can build communities, you can entertain your users there, but the acquisition channels where your customers that know what they're looking for will come is different funnels. So I would like to ask you to give an example, maybe from your experience, about some acquisition channel that maybe we are not aware of, something very unique or very small or very different or very crypto or very blockchain related that works.
Okay, that's a great question indeed. In terms of customer acquisition, it is a bit tricky at this point. Again, it's still too early on. What I've personally done is focus on the existing customers that we have, and make sure, because I've had the way we handle things with our community is we're extremely hands-on on whatever the case is. If they need to get in touch with me, unless I'm traveling, they can get in touch with me. Same goes with the main developers. So what we're trying to do is make the customer experience as flawless as possible. I'm not saying it's perfect, but the fact that if there's an issue, they have a question, whether we have the answer right away, we respond to them right away. And you as a customer, you'd feel good about it, that
So it becomes your ambassador. By giving good retention and good support, it becomes your ambassador.
True.
And it helps you market out.
Yes, and based on that, and it has happened, fortunately. We're thankful to the community, the Chibi Fighters community, that we've had a good number of referrals. Just schoolmates, friends, workmates of theirs saying, hey, these guys from Chibi Fighters are trying to do something.
Picking up the phone when I need them. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, Oded?
Totally agree with you here. It's all about the customer experience. Like I said before, me as an operator, my obligation is to provide my users the best quality of product that I can, because the users are no longer the product. The users are my customers. And I need to provide them with something good enough for them to enjoy it, to have fun, to win some money, and to come back. Regarding the acquisition itself, we use traditional platforms because, if it ain't broken, don't fix it. So Facebook, Twitter is big, Telegram is really big. Yeah.
We just started out, and so far we only have natural traffic. Just people who have our Twitter and subscriptions and so on don't have any funny stories for you yet. We didn't try anything fancy yet, so there is that.
But when you build your strategy, your marketing strategy, which funnels are you planning to use, or which kind of strategies you're planning to use?
We have great hopes about referral mechanics and airdrops with a smart filtering system for good customers. Like we want to implement a system where you can see the blockchain history of a customer, or like traditional gaming history, like a Steam account, and you can see that he's not selling airdrops, he's using games where he was dropping some cool items, and he's like 40,000 house on Steam last week, and we can say that yeah, that's a cool guy. We can give him an airdrop and make him a referral bonus and something like that. That's our go-to plan for the future.
Okay.
Yeah, I totally agree with Mike's opinion. So there is so many limitation to promote the blockchain-based game. We cannot promote our game in the Facebook, and barely can promote in the Google, because those two is the most high the usable last 5 years. So it's kind of for me as a marketing guy, it feel we cut one of our hand to promote this kind of game use. And so for me, as my personal experience, we are trying to promote as a traditional way to pre-reservations, and to something like the traditional media was not worth to pay compared to the mobile game or traditional games. We do better after that. For now, right now, we are more focusing on the more the crypto. As I told, it's more focusing on the community itself, the engagements. Someone who is have a relationship, because even though it's not the popular one, but they have strong connections between among the cryptocurrency holders. They have a Telegram, they have the medium sites, and they have even though there is the small, but they're quite sticky themselves. So if we succeed to someone who's a really loyalty person, who is persuade their people to play our game, is already quite spread, and much more efficiency to stop spending the money to the public media or the other the masses. So we are now focusing on the events or something like that. Yeah.
So refer a friend or good customer service is beautiful to keep it moving forward, but something need to push at the beginning And we know all that marketing and acquisition, this is the pain part, and we all fighting for the best media and the best leads and the best list and so on. By the way, we'll talk about it more into details in half an hour with another panel talking about marketing specifically. But because you just started, so you don't have yet the sources that you know that are working. And even the sources that are working are changing every day. And like you said, Facebook, it's good to have, but it's not really the acquisition channel.
Here, one more thing is like instead of just when you are doing the PR stuff, like, just spreading out on the PR newswire or something. Instead of that, so to try to use the word related to the cryptocurrency basis media. Like I can tell you guys, if you guys meet in the person to the person, like the face-to-face like, time to with the drinking, I can tell the executive vision is the best one solution to promote like the
So
PR.
he just said that he invited all for drinks. You got it? Note it down?
Probably, but yeah, but what I want to share with guys like what we are operated before is not suitable for at this time. So we need to find the better way to like show our the game to the right person directly. So.
From my experience, by the way, I can say that one good blog post in a very small but very targeted EOS-related forum is much more powerful than the 2,000 value of press releases. In terms of acquisition, I'm not talking about brand awareness and stuff like that. I'm talking about direct traffic coming from the sources. And you probably know that in Telegram and WeChat and KakaoTalk and all these messaging applications, not to mention Discord and other, that this is where you acquire, this is where you manage your community, this is where you grow your community, and this is where you acquire new users.
And one final thing I'd like to add on why we're heavily focused on customer service. It's because they're already in front of you, right? There's no uncertainties anymore. They're in your community. You know, why not make the most out of it rather than, you know, if we were in a position to throw away money at Google Ads, that's a different story. But obviously, that's especially with how bad the market is at this point, we're not in that position. So we're being realists about it, on how we deal, and that way, you know, it's less risks on our end, and it would ensure the longevity of GB fighters.
Yeah.
So.
Great. Okay, I'm done with my questions. I had less actually, and I just invented another one for the end. But maybe someone from the audience wants to ask something specific for like a wide question or something specific to one of the panelists or myself. Do you guys apps owners or marketers? Who is here? There is anyone here? I don't see. Very quiet. You guys maybe want to raise another topic or give some success story or tell us something that we don't know from your experience? Guys, you must have something. Confidentiality. Okay, so if no questions, I would like to thank everyone for staying until the end and to thank my panelists. Thanks.